Hello, in this video I will talk about the second model of disability. So the first one was the medical model, where where disability is located in a specific body, but in the social model, which is the second one, disability is located in society. So how so? So if we think about a building, so we can't fly, so we shouldn't have access to the upper floors. So the designers, the engineers of the building, they came up with the stairs, because then the stairs is a device by which humans, bipedal organisms, can have access to the upper floors. And yeah, that's. But the point is that not all humans can use the stairs. So when it is offered as the only means of access to the upper floors, that means that it was not thought for the for the whole entirety of humanity, but only for a percentage, for the majority. But still, there are some people who are unable to use it. People in wheelchair. I may think maybe someone with a breathing condition or a heart condition, maybe, I don't know, but you not all humans will be able to use it. And so that's the point, that those people, they feel they are disabled, they are unable to access the whole building because of the way the building was designed. So this is the example that the author uses in the book, and this also made me think about again about the tribe in this village in Bali. I think I talked about it in the last video, where the whole society can use sign language. It's like a village where everybody is fluent in sign language. They even have a god, a deaf god, and for them, yeah, and everybody. So a deaf child can pursue her education in sign language. So deafness is not an obstacle to have access to information, to have full participation in society, in contrast to many Western societies, of course not only the West, where deafness can be an obstacle for information, for having a job. And this is not something, it's not because of the deafness itself, but this is how society is organized. As we can see more and more, for example, in the Brazilian society, there are more and more opportunities, there are more and more understanding about this, and society is changing itself so everybody can have a full participation. Um, yeah, so we have programs with interpretation, and the government offers access to interpreters, and so on and so on. Also, new technologies, as some captions. So this just to show how a trait itself can't. This doesn't really means that it should be it's a disabling trait or not. Is a society where it is that's going to say. And we may also think that what does it mean to stutter in a industrial society, and what it means to stutter in a rural society, in the where when people work in the field, where so in those modes of society, or in when we think about those nomad people, and now we're sedentary people, so different modes of production, we have a whole different way of living. So does so how does stuttering, what does it mean to stutter in these two different contexts? But then going back to the book, and then it brings, so in this social model, there are two things, there are two distinction then between disability and impairment. So disability should be so this thing that the social side, and impairment then is the treat itself. And then so we may think, is stuttering a disability? If we think that there is a pace in which ideally everybody should speak, if there is a frame in which okay, people who can't speak in this frame is, I don't know, is going to be declassified, or when people are subject to verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sometimes even physical abuse or violence. I already saw once the news, in a Brazilian news, some child that was beaten by the parents because the parents wanted the child to talk correctly, and then were like really hitting the child, like really, like was a really bad case. So, uh, so in this case, I would say that yes, but then also we see that in this model, disability is a much more widened and is a different concept than what we usually have. Um, yeah. So what does it mean also uh, for for example, for a psychologist to be a stutterer, or for a radiolist, someone who just work in the radio, or for a teacher, or for a biologist. So you have different environments, so different demands, and so I think in this case we can see yes, stuttering being disability, and I think that the point is that many people fear this word and they put this in such a bad connotation. They don't want to be associated. They don't want to see themselves as associated with this word because they can't see any pride on it. They can't see any. They see that they can have a full life with this tag in them, and this is anxiety generating. This is they feel disturbed. But then, and one good thing about this model is that it allows them people from different segments of to start to see commonalities. So blind people, deaf people, people in wheelchairs, they're gonna see, well, this sort of experience we have are actually there's some parallelism in them, in the sense that someone who is in the sense they all experience oppression, and they all don't have full, and they are disabled by society in this model then, and not by and it's not something that can be only explained by the bodies themselves. So this is one of this model, this perspective allowed then for a big advancement in the political and social organization movements that then would fight for rights, and yeah, rights for these people, especially in democratic societies where then this sort of discussion is much easier. And what else? Let me see here if I had anything more to say that I forgot. Yeah, so yeah, and finally, it was an advancement, but still, some people still criticized it in the sense that this category of impairment, it still gives a lot of room for the doctor or the medical discourse. So it's still they are the ones that have the word, one saying who is disabled and who have the rights to have the disabled, who have the right to have the social protections, or the yeah, like who is qualified for the social rights. Because to have access to the social rights, we have first to have an impairment, and is still medicine who is going to say who is impaired and who is not. So this is what it appears. This is what I understood from this part, and I'll keep talking in the next video.